What happens when Nicole Kidman walks onto a live talk show stage expecting a thoughtful conversation, only to be met with Joy Behar pushing harder than usual? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. The audience cheers as Nicole sits down, smoothing her skirt and offering a warm smile. Whoopi leans forward, greeting her with that familiar calm tone. "Nicole, we're really glad you're here. Big morning for you." Nicole laughs lightly. "It's early, but I'm happy to see all of you. Thank you for having me." Sunny folds her hands. "We've been excited to talk about your new project, but also, a few comments you made recently shook up social media." The audience gives a soft ooh, and Nicole glances around with a faint grin. "Always social media," she mutters playfully. But Joy jumps in before anyone else can speak. "Well, Nicole, people are talking because you said Hollywood has become, what was the word? Reluctant to tell certain kinds of stories. And you know, some folks think that's just code for complaining about changes that need to happen." Nicole pauses, surprised not by the question but by the tone. She presses her palms together. "I think what I said was actually..." Joy cuts her off. No, I read it. It sounded like you're tired of what you call restrictions. Like you want things to go back to how they were." The audience shifts. There's a low murmur. Whoopi raises an eyebrow as if signaling Joy to slow down. Nicole inhales gently and then sets her posture straight, keeping her voice steady. "I never said I wanted things to go back, Joy," she replies. "I said filmmakers should feel free to tell a wide range of stories. That includes new perspectives and old ones. Creativity shouldn't feel boxed in, whichever direction it goes." Joy waves her hand dismissively. "But Nicole, you've been in the industry for decades. You've benefited from the old system. It's easy to say let every story be told, when most of the stories used to be for people like you." A flicker of tension ripples across the stage. Even the audience responds with a quick gasp. Nicole's smile fades slightly, not offended, but focused. "That's not fair," she says quietly. "I've worked with directors all over the world, from all different backgrounds. I just want artists to feel safe expressing themselves." Anna leans in, acting as a buffer. "Let her finish," she says sharply, looking at Joy. But Joy shrugs. "I'm just saying what people online were saying." Nicole looks directly at her, voice calm but firm. "You're not quoting the comments, Joy. You're interpreting them." Some in the audience clap, sensing a shift in the energy. Whoopi laughs under her breath. All right, let's all breathe for a second." Nicole crosses one leg over the other and continues. "When I said Hollywood feels reluctant, I meant there's fear of backlash, fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of making a mistake. And fear limits creativity." Joy folds her arms. "Or maybe accountability feels like fear to some people." Nicole smiles again, but this time tighter. "Accountability is important. Fear isn't accountability. Artists shouldn't be scared into silence." Sunny nods. "That's true. But people also want representation. They want fairness." "Yes," Nicole says. "I support that fully. But shouldn't all types of stories coexist?" Joy shakes her head and interrupts again. "But power structures matter. When you talk about all types, it sounds like you're defending the status quo." Nicole's expression shifts, still composed, but unmistakably firmer. "Joy, you're putting words in my mouth." The studio reacts with an audible ooh as Joy blinks in surprise, not expecting Nicole to confront her so directly. Whoopi steps in, her tone a mix of protective and amused. "Nicole, let's slow this down a moment. We're here to understand what you meant, not to jump to conclusions." Joy leans forward. "I'm not jumping. I'm saying what I heard." Nicole looks at her steadily, eyes sharp but respectful. "Then let me clarify what you heard. I'm advocating for creative freedom across the board, freedom for everyone. Actors, writers, directors. That doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means more voices, not fewer. More stories, not limited ones." The audience applauds strongly this time. People glance at Joy, who seems slightly annoyed that the crowd is siding with Nicole. Sunny raises her eyebrows. "I think what Nicole is saying is that fear stifles the process." Nicole nods. "Exactly. If you're too afraid to write something because you worry one line might be taken out of context, you're not creating from an honest place." Joy rolls her eyes slightly, but Nicole sees it, and this time, she addresses it. "Joy," Nicole says, leaning forward, "I know the difference between wanting progress and creating a climate of fear. What I'm talking about is nuance. Joy fires back. I like nuance. I just don't like coded language. Nicole lifts her hand gently. Nothing I said was coded. I spoke openly. If someone reads it that way, perhaps they're hearing their own interpretation rather than mine. The audience reacts again, louder this time. A mix of applause and surprised laughter. Anna tries to soften the moment. Nicole, can you give an example of what you mean? Something specific. Sure, Nicole says. There have been scripts where I felt a director was pulling back, not because they didn't believe in the story, but because they worried it wouldn't survive the online reaction cycle. That's not progress. That's fear-driven art. Sunny tilts her head. But isn't that part of modern media? Everything gets immediate feedback now. And that's fine, Nicole answers. Feedback is good. Intimidation isn't. Joy interrupts once more, lifting her finger. So you think people calling out harmful stereotypes is intimidation? Nicole finally turns fully toward Joy, her tone measured but unmistakably direct. No, Joy. I think shaming people before understanding their intent is intimidation. The room goes silent. Even Joy stays quiet for a moment. Nicole continues, her voice steady and clear. Art comes from vulnerability. If people are too scared to explore, to question, to make mistakes, then we're not nurturing creativity. We're policing it. Someone in the crowd shouts, "Speak on it," and the audience laughs and claps. Whoopi chuckles. Well, Nicole, I think you just said a mouthful. Joy tries to respond, but Sunny taps her wrist. Let her finish. Nicole adds, I'm not against accountability. I'm against fear. There's a difference. Joy sighs loudly. I just think in this climate, you need to be very careful. Nicole leans in slightly, a decisive tone entering her voice. And I think being careful has replaced being truthful. And that, Joy, is the very reluctance I was talking about. The audience erupts in applause, longer this time, more intense. Joy sits back, tight-lipped. Nicole sits calmly, hands folded, waiting for the noise to settle. Whoopi finally speaks. We're definitely not done with this conversation, so don't go anywhere. Nicole nods, exhaling softly, ready for whatever comes next as the tension continues rising. Nicole leans back slightly as the applause finally fades, and there's a lingering buzz in the studio, the kind that sticks in the air after someone has said something people didn't expect. Joy is still sitting stiffly, one hand on the edge of the table, the other tapping the mug in front of her. Whoopi glances between them, almost amused but cautious, trying to decide where to steer the conversation next. Sunny clears her throat first. Nicole, before we went to break earlier, you said something interesting, that being careful is replacing being truthful. I want to unpack that a little because it's a powerful statement. Nicole nods once, appreciative. Yes, I think many artists, writers, directors, actors, feel like they are under constant watch. Not in a productive way. More like, you can't breathe without someone telling you you're breathing wrong. Laughter rolls through the audience. Anna looks at Nicole. But doesn't that also come with the territory of being influential? Being someone whose words impact millions? Nicole tilts her head. It does. And I accept that. But there's a difference between accountability for harmful behavior and the expectation that every word be flawless or politically perfect. Joy finally jumps in. But you know what the problem is? People have been hurt by Hollywood for years. When someone with your level of success talks about fear, it sounds like you're dismissing the people who finally feel empowered to speak up. Nicole turns toward Joy again, but softer this time. I'm not dismissing them at all. I support people speaking up. But holding power accountable and shutting down creativity are two different actions. Joy purses her lips. But who decides the line? Because everyone thinks they are the one being unfairly silenced. Nicole raises her eyebrows slightly. Joy, I didn't come here claiming I'm being silenced. I'm saying artists in general are navigating a climate where they're afraid to get it wrong, afraid to explore complicated themes. That's not healthy for storytelling. Whoopi leans forward, clasping her hands. You're saying it's gotten too rigid. Yes, Nicole says. Rigid. Reactive. Sometimes outright hostile. The audience murmurs again, some agreeing, some unsure. Anna lifts a hand. But when you talk about hostility, are you referring to critics? Fans? Executives? What exactly creates that fear? A mix, Nicole says. Executives afraid of backlash, online mobs waiting to twist a narrative, critics who judge before seeing context. It's a cycle. Joy interjects. And maybe that's because Hollywood used to get away with anything. Nicole breathes out slowly. And now Hollywood is terrified of doing anything. That's the shift. The audience reacts loudly. Joy opens her mouth to reply, but Nicole continues before she can. It's not about wanting the old ways back. It's about wanting freedom for progress to happen naturally, not out of fear. Whoopi smiles at Nicole. I get what you're saying. Art requires room. Exactly, Nicole replies. Sunny leans forward. But Nicole, can you see why some people interpret your comment about Hollywood being reluctant as resistance to the new era of accountability? Yes, Nicole says immediately. I can see how it might be misunderstood. But that's why I'm clarifying it. I didn't say we should avoid accountability. I said fear shouldn't lead the process. Joy folds her arms, tone clipped. But fear and accountability get mixed because of what people went through. Nicole nods. Pain makes conversations complicated, I agree. But we can't let pain turn into policing every idea. Audience applause again, stronger. Joy leans forward, voice rising slightly. But don't you think some restrictions are necessary? To prevent harmful messages from spreading. Nicole sits up straighter. Restrictions? Absolutely, when it comes to hate, abuse, exploitation. But censoring complex stories because someone might misinterpret a character or a scene. That's not safety. That's stagnation. Sunny lifts her finger gently. Okay, but isn't there a responsibility to present things thoughtfully? Not all creators do that. Nicole nods. Of course. But the answer isn't to limit creativity. It's to encourage better conversations. Better collaboration. Better context. Joy laughs sharply. Conversations don't trend. Outrage does. Nicole's eyes widen slightly, not offended, but taken aback by how blunt Joy is being. She leans in. And that's exactly the problem. Outrage becoming more profitable than understanding. The audience bursts into applause, some even whistle. Whoopi shakes her head, trying to keep things balanced. Let's be real though, nobody here is unfamiliar with being on the receiving end of outrage. The panel laughs knowingly, easing the tension for a moment. Then Sunny gestures toward Nicole. Let's dig into the original interview. When you said Hollywood is reluctant, what sparked that thought? Was it a project you were working on? Nicole hesitates, searching for the right words. There was a script, a beautiful one. It tackled a difficult subject. But the producers pulled back, not because it wasn't good, but because they were scared people would react before understanding the story. That broke my heart a little. Joy lifts her chin. Maybe they were being responsible. Nicole looks right at her again. Or maybe they didn't trust the audience's ability to engage with depth. A wave of applause rises. Joy scoffs softly. You do realize depth isn't always what people see first, right? They see headlines, clips, memes. Nicole nods. And headlines shouldn't dictate art. Joy presses. But they do. That's the world we live in. Nicole pauses, then smiles slightly. And we can push back. We can advocate for nuance. Sunny jumps in. It seems like you two are talking past each other. Nicole is talking about creative freedom. Joy is talking about cultural responsibility. Nicole gestures lightly. Those two things can coexist. Joy shakes her head. Not always. Nicole sits taller. Why not? Joy shrugs. Because people get hurt. Nicole's voice softens. People also get healed through stories. That's the part one feels is being forgotten. The audience hums in agreement. Anna places a hand on her chest. That's true. Some of the most impactful films dealt with controversial themes. Exactly, Nicole says. And those films wouldn't be greenlit today. Not because they are harmful, but because someone might misinterpret a moment and create a firestorm. Joy tilts her head. Isn't that speculation, though? No, Nicole says calmly. It's reality. I've lived it. I've seen projects die from fear alone. The studio gets quiet again. Whoopi breaks the silence. Let me ask you this, Nicole. Do you think the industry needs to recalibrate? Yes, Nicole says. We need balance. We need to embrace accountability while not suffocating creation. Sunny nods thoughtfully. Balance. That's a good word. Joy sighs, almost frustrated. I'm not against balance. I'm against pretending everything is fine when it's not. Nicole responds gently but firmly. And I'm against pretending every piece of art is harmful when it's not. The audience applauds again, louder this time, clearly picking up the rising tension. Joy turns to Anna. Do you hear what she's saying? Anna lifts her shoulders. I hear both of you. Nicole leans in just a little, her voice steady. Joy, I respect your passion. But you're assuming intent where there is none. You're framing my words as defensive when they are protective of creativity. Joy responds, I think you're being defensive whether you mean to be or not. Nicole sits back, unbothered. Or maybe I'm just not letting you twist my meaning. The audience roars. Shock, laughter, applause all at once. Joy's eyebrows shoot up. Excuse me. Nicole doesn't flinch. You're attributing motives to me that I never expressed. That's not a conversation. That's a projection. Whoopi holds up her hands. All right, let's keep this on the rails. Nicole turns toward Whoopi calmly. I'm just clarifying. Joy shakes her head. No, you're trying to walk back what you said. Nicole looks at her directly and says, No, Joy. I'm explaining what I meant because you're committed to misunderstanding it. Gasps ripple across the studio. Even Whoopi looks stunned. Nicole continues, her voice calm but unwavering. And if we can't discuss ideas without assuming the worst, then we're proving my point exactly. The audience erupts again, some cheering, some simply stunned at how direct she has become. Whoopi lifts a hand toward the camera. We're taking another break. Clearly, this conversation is just heating up. Nicole breathes out, composed but intense, as the disagreement settles heavily in the room and the show prepares to return for the next round. When the show comes back from break, the studio lights feel a little brighter, or maybe it's just the tension still hanging in the air. Nicole adjusts her posture, smoothing her hands over her lap. Joy sits with her arms loosely crossed, but her eyes are locked on Nicole, studying her like she's deciding what direction to push next. Whoopi looks ready to referee the moment she needs to. Sunny and Anna exchange a quick glance, bracing for where the conversation is about to go. Whoopi speaks first, with that steady tone she uses when she wants everyone to breathe. All right, we're back. And obviously this conversation hit a nerve, on the table, and judging by what's happening online during the break, it definitely hit a nerve with people watching too. Nicole smiles, a little cautious. I think this is good. Hard conversations are still conversations. The audience applauds lightly. Sunny leans in. Nicole, something you said before the break, that Hollywood is suffocating creativity. People online are already reacting to that. Some are agreeing. Some think you're saying accountability is the villain. Do you want to expand on that? Yes, Nicole says without hesitation. Because accountability is not the enemy. Fear is. And those two words are getting mixed together in ways that aren't healthy. Joy lets out a breathy laugh. Fear is just the word people use when they don't like consequences. The audience reacts with a soft gasp. Nicole turns to her slowly. And sometimes consequences is the word people use when they want to punish thinking they don't agree with. A loud reaction comes from the crowd, applause and murmurs. Anna raises her hands. Okay, let's break that down. Joy, what do you mean by consequences? And Nicole, what exactly feels like punishment? Joy answers first. I mean that if someone puts harmful stereotypes or outdated narratives in their movies, people are going to call them out. That's the consequence. And that's fair. Nicole nods. Fair. Yes. But calling out and shutting down are different. Dialogue is different from cancellation. One leads to growth. The other leads to fear. Sunny jumps in. Nicole, can you give an example of where you feel that shutdown is happening more than conversation? Nicole takes a breath. I've seen actors afraid to take roles because they don't want to get attacked for playing characters who make imperfect choices. I've seen writers scrap scripts because they're afraid a scene might be taken out of context. That's not accountability. That's self-censorship. Joy holds up a hand. But some of those roles shouldn't be taken. Some scripts should be questioned. Nicole leans forward, voice firmer but still calm. Questioning is fine. Condemning before understanding is not. The audience claps again, some even nodding visibly. Whoopi looks between them, then back to Nicole. You said something during the break about how art requires risk. What did you mean by that? Nicole shifts slightly, choosing her words. Art has always pushed boundaries. It's supposed to challenge us, make us uncomfortable, make us think. If artists are too scared to take risks, we lose that depth. Joy raises an eyebrow. Uncomfortable for who? Nicole sighs, but not in frustration, more like she's trying to stay measured. For everyone. That's the point. Stories touch all of us. But discomfort isn't always danger. Sometimes it's growth. A few audience members clap loudly. Sunny gestures toward Nicole. But what about the people who say certain stories do harm them? That some representations are dangerous? Nicole nods. That's real. But that's why conversations matter. Why context matters. Why intention matters. We can't erase complexity because it's difficult. Joy's tone turns sharper. But you keep saying fear. Fear of what? Accountability? Feedback? Being challenged? Nicole meets her gaze directly. Fear of being misinterpreted. Fear of losing your career over something taken out of context. Fear of trying to tell a layered story and being attacked before anyone even sees it. Joy scoffs. People get attacked every day. They deal with it. Nicole's expression hardens, not anger, but resolve. And that's not healthy. Not for them, not for artists, not for society. We shouldn't normalize mob reactions. The audience claps, some loud hems echoing from the back rows. Anna leans in. Nicole, do you think social media plays the biggest role in this? Absolutely, Nicole says. Social media amplifies outrage because outrage gets engagement. Nuance doesn't trend. Joy jumps in. But without social media, a lot of marginalized voices wouldn't be heard. Nicole nods again. I agree completely. Social media can empower, but it can also destroy without context. It's both, and we need to acknowledge both. Sunny interjects softly. Balance again. Exactly, Nicole says. Joy presses forward, eyes narrowing just a bit. But Nicole, you're sitting here saying the industry is afraid, that artists are afraid. Some people watching this are thinking, what are these rich Hollywood people afraid of? Losing a role. Meanwhile, real people deal with real consequences. Nicole pauses for a moment. The studio gets quiet, sensing that she's considering her words carefully. She finally says, it's not about money. It's about purpose. If artists lose the ability to create freely, society loses something essential. Stories teach us. They reflect us. They push us. If those stories shrink, we all shrink. The audience applauds, more passionately this time. Joy shakes her head. But you're acting like artists are the victims. Nicole responds calmly but firmly. I'm saying fear limits everyone, artists, audiences, conversations. And I don't want a world where people are afraid to tell stories. Joy fires back. Some people are afraid to speak up because of what Hollywood has done to them. Nicole softens, nodding. I hear that, and I support addressing it. But healing one pain by creating another, fear for fear, isn't the solution. The audience reacts with understanding murmurs. Someone shouts yes from the side. Whoopi exclaims lightly, Lord, this table today. Anna laughs nervously. It's fiery. Sunny grins. But important. Joy takes a deeper breath. Nicole, I'm not trying to misrepresent you. I'm trying to highlight how your words land for some people. Nicole nods, appreciative but still firm. And I'm saying you're hearing them through a filter that isn't mine. That's why I'm clarifying. Joy tilts her head. But you're dismissing how they could be interpreted. Nicole responds immediately. Interpreting is fine. Deciding intent for me is not. The audience reacts again. Loud applause, even a few cheers. Joy opens her mouth to speak, but Nicole gently raises a hand, not to silence her, but to slow the spiral. I'm not your enemy, Joy. I'm not the enemy of progress. I'm someone who believes creativity thrives with freedom, not fear. And we can work toward fairness without limiting imagination. Joy studies her for a long moment. Then why does it sound like you're defending the people who complain about cancel culture every 5 minutes? Nicole's voice remains calm. Because you're hearing me through a political lens. I'm speaking from an artistic one. The crowd reacts with a mix of shock and admiration. Whoopi steps in quickly. Ladies, let's keep it respectful. Nicole nods, maintaining her composure. I am being respectful. I'm just being honest. Joy exhales sharply. Well, honesty sounds defensive today. Nicole smiles subtly. And defensiveness sounds like projection. The crowd erupts, gasps, laughter, applause all at once. Some people stand up for a moment before sitting back down. Joy blinks hard. Wow. Sunny's mouth falls open a bit. Oh my. Anna covers her face with her hand. This is something. Whoopi shakes her head slowly. Nicole, that was blunt. Nicole shrugs, still composed. I'm not trying to fight. I'm trying to explain. But I won't pretend someone's interpretation is my intention. Joy sets her jaw. So you're saying I'm twisting your words? Nicole looks at her steadily. Yes, I am. Another wave of gasps. Joy leans forward, voice sharper. You know, Nicole, people don't like feeling dismissed. Nicole says gently, and artists don't like feeling misunderstood. Whoopi raises her hands, trying to break the rising heat. Okay, let's take a breath. Both of you. Nicole sits back but maintains eye contact with Joy. We can disagree, Joy. But don't assign me intentions I didn't express. Joy finally looks away, jaw still tight. Anna jumps in to diffuse the moment. Nicole, what would you like the future of Hollywood to look like? If you could shape it. Nicole turns her attention to Anna. A future where stories are brave. Where people can explore humanity fully, without fear. Where accountability encourages growth instead of silencing. The audience claps. Sunny nods slowly. I think that's a fair vision. Joy mutters under her breath. Depends on who you ask. Nicole hears it and responds smoothly. Then let's keep asking. That's what dialogue is for. The audience applauds again, impressed by Nicole's unwavering poise. Whoopi looks directly into the camera. We're not done yet. When we come back, Nicole talks about what she believes Hollywood is getting right and wrong today. Nicole folds her hands, calm but fully present, as the show prepares to continue the most heated conversation of the morning. Whoopi looks at Nicole, then at the audience, and back to the camera as the show returns from the final break. There's a different kind of air in the room now, charged, aware, but also curious. People are leaning in, waiting to see how this conversation will end and whether the tension simmering between Nicole and Joy will boil over or settle into something more reflective. All right, Whoopi says with a half sigh, half laugh. We're back, and we've had quite the discussion. Nicole, thank you for sticking with us because not every guest is willing to sit through a table this heated. Nicole smiles gently, almost humbly. I think it's important. If I say I want conversations, then I have to participate in them fully. The audience applauds, sensing her sincerity. Anna turns toward Nicole. We talked about the challenges, the fear, the tension in Hollywood. But let's talk about the positive. What do you think the industry is doing right now? Nicole brightens slightly, relieved to address something less fraught. I think there's something beautiful happening in the kinds of stories we're seeing. So many cultures, so many voices, so many perspectives we didn't have access to before. That's a huge step. Sunny nods. Absolutely. And I love that audiences are more open to those diverse stories, Nicole continues. People want authenticity. They want honesty. They want humanity. That's really encouraging. Joy finally speaks again, her tone noticeably calmer. And what do you think we're getting wrong? I mean, we've heard some of it today. But what's the core issue in your eyes? Nicole takes a moment before answering, choosing her words with care. I think we've become so reactive that we sometimes forget to listen. And not just in Hollywood. Everywhere. People hear one sentence and assume the whole story. That's where things break down. Joy nods lightly, not agreement, but acknowledgement. Sunny interjects. I think some viewers at home are saying, well, that's what you and Joy are doing right now, trying to understand each other's stories. Nicole laughs softly. Then maybe this conversation is a good thing. Whoopi chuckles. That's the optimistic way to look at it. Joy uncrosses her arms. Nicole, let me ask you something directly. Do you think people like me, people who critique media for a living, are part of the problem? Nicole's face softens. Joy, you're not the problem. Criticism is essential. Talking about the impact of stories is important. The problem comes when criticism assumes intention before asking the question. Joy studies her, and for the first time since the tension began, her tone loses its edge. You know, that's fair. Nicole smiles. That's all I meant. The audience claps, sensing the dynamic shift. Anna sighs in relief. Okay, I think we're at a good place now. But then Joy adds, with her trademark bluntness, but I still think celebrities have blind spots. Nicole nods. I'm sure we do. Everyone does. I'm always happy to hear different perspectives. But I won't let fear dictate how I work or how I speak. Joy smirks. You made that very clear. Nicole raises her eyebrows with playful acknowledgement, and the audience laughs, relieved by the lighter tone. Whoopi drags her hand across the table dramatically. Thank God. I was 2 seconds away from grabbing a fire extinguisher. The audience roars with laughter. Sunny leans forward toward Nicole. Can I ask something? What do you hope people get from this conversation? After all this heat, all this back and forth. Nicole thinks for a moment. I hope people see that disagreement isn't the end of connection. That we can be bold without being cruel. Honest without being dismissive. And I hope people give artists, not just me, room to create without assuming the worst. The audience applauds warmly. Joy softens her voice. And you hope we stop projecting intentions onto you. Nicole nods gently. Only if you extend that same grace to everyone. Joy exhales slowly. All right. Point taken. There's a brief moment where both women hold each other's gaze, not in defiance anymore, but in a quiet understanding. The audience reacts to that with a round of supportive claps. Anna smiles. This turned into a therapy session. Whoopi laughs. Look, this table is nothing if not group therapy. Sunny chimes in, messy therapy. Nicole laughs for real this time. Well, messy conversations are still conversations. The mood in the studio loosens. Shoulders drop. People breathe. A few audience members shout compliments to Nicole, and she waves at them with genuine warmth. But as the hosts prepare to wrap, the atmosphere shifts again, this time into the reflective aftermath that always comes at the end of a turbulent episode. Whoopi leans into the camera. Nicole, before we go, I have to tell you, people are reacting like wildfire online. We're seeing live comments. Some agree with you completely about creativity. Others are saying Joy raised necessary points. But everyone agrees on one thing. This was a conversation that needed to happen. Sunny adds, Twitter is already trending with your name. And half a dozen hashtags. Nicole groans jokingly. Oh God. The audience laughs. Anna reads from a producer's tablet. One person wrote, Nicole Kidman just gave the masterclass on how to stay calm under pressure. Another said, Joy doesn't back down even when it gets heated. And another wrote, this is the real conversation Hollywood needs. Joy tilts her head. Well, at least I'm consistent. Nicole laughs. You are. The audience claps again, enjoying the lighter tone returning. Whoopi says, let's talk about after the show. Nicole, do you plan to keep speaking publicly about this? About art, about fear, about creativity? Nicole shrugs slightly. If I'm asked, sure. I don't shy away from these things. But I hope the takeaway isn't Nicole argued with Joy. I hope it's Nicole believes in fearless storytelling. That's all. Joy taps the table. Well, we did argue. Nicole looks at her with a half smile. We did. But we also clarified. And that matters more. Sunny nods. It does. Anna adds. And this conversation will definitely continue online. People aren't letting this go anytime soon. Nicole laughs knowingly. They never do. Whoopi folds her hands. Before we end this, I want to say something. Nicole, thank you for being open. And Joy, thank you for bringing the fire. The audience cheers. Because that's what this show is. It's not about everyone agreeing. It's about wrestling with complicated things. Nicole nods. Exactly. Thank you for having me. Joy raises her mug slightly in a gesture that's half playful, half sincere. No hard feelings. Nicole mirrors the gesture. None at all. The audience claps, some cheering extra loudly as the moment of resolution lands. Sunny leans toward the camera for the final word. If you were watching this conversation thinking, oh my God, Nicole is going in, or Joy is not letting go, or this table is on fire today, trust us, we felt the same. Anna laughs. Yes, we did. Whoopi addresses the audience directly. But these are the conversations we need. These are the moments that remind us that growth comes from discomfort, clarity comes from questioning, and connection comes from staying at the table. Nicole nods appreciatively. The applause builds again. Sunny concludes. And as always, we want to know what you think. Social media is already buzzing, but we want to hear it from you. Anna points at the camera. Because this conversation doesn't end when the cameras turn off. Then Whoopi closes with her signature outro. Thank you for watching. Thank you for debating. And thank you, Nicole, for coming by and keeping it real. Nicole waves as the audience rises in another standing ovation. Some applauding the honesty, some applauding the bravery, some just applauding the moment they just witnessed. The tension, the clarity, the heat, the mutual respect at the end. It all lingers in the studio air as the show fades to commercial and the hosts gather their notes, still processing everything that just unfolded. And as the cameras cut, the buzz online only grows louder, with people arguing, praising, critiquing, and dissecting every moment of the exchange. If you're watching this on the Star Talks, make sure you share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories.